All right, let's see if this mic actually picks things up. But as you can tell, we have not fixed the setup yet. It's a work in progress. We should have a new um, desk by next week. So let's get this started. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Idols Two Rivals podcast. We are still here, and we still do not have the best setup. If you're watching live on the YouTube channel, it's at Jack Hummell on the YouTube channel. If you are listening to it on Spotify or iTunes or anything like that, but yeah, so we're still without a desk, so we're doing it from my bed. So the quality of the live stream might not be the best, but we're still working with it. We're still going with it, and yeah, we're just getting the experience. Sorry if I'm moving the camera too much. It's not going to work. But yeah. So this week, a little bit of a different week. I always say that, but so we have some topics that I wanted to talk about. Getting a little more professional after 44 episodes in. Um, but I hope everyone had a good week. I hope everything's going good for everybody. I know a lot of people I've talked to going through some tough stuff. It's been a challenging couple months for a lot of people, and I hope everyone is just getting after it, doing what they want to do. And give me one sec while I fix this live stream. We're doing this live, obviously by the, and there we go. Got the camera fixed a little bit, but yeah. So the draft is coming up. That's really the only sports news. The Masters just finished up, and I would try to pronounce who won, but I don't want to butcher their name. But yeah, he was a guy I've never heard of, but I think he's been in the PGA Tour for about 10 years. So congrats to him getting the green jacket. I don't really watch any golf unless it's like Brooks Koepka or Justin Thomas, or I even like Jordan Spieth, even though he's a UT guy. But I think he's a good dude, so I root for him now and again. But yeah, so it's been a long week. It's been a crazy week. A lot of changes, as some of you may know. I posted the video about how I moved my entire life to Fort Lauderdale, knowing no one and kind of on a whim, with a job that I barely knew really what the MO was. Like, I didn't really know going in. I knew kind of a rough estimate of it, but not to the point of, moving your whole entire life 8 days before you sign the offer letter. And also, I didn't know really how it was going to go. I had to pass a certain test to get licensed in the field that I work in, and thankfully I passed it on the first try. But yeah, so taking a lot of risk recently. There's been a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but I keep reminding myself. I've talked about this whenever one of the last episodes was. It's tough to know you're in the fight when you're in it, when you're scared or when you're beat down or when you're tired or when you're pissed off. It's tough to know that this is the part you train for. This is the part. It's not when everything's going well and you've got your routine down and things get a bunch of green lights. Things are just going one after another in your favor. That's the easy stuff. That's when it's easy to go work out. That's when it's easy, when it's to study for your test, when you have free time. But it's when things go wrong, when things go really, really bad, that you really learn that this is the time to grow. You don't grow whenever everything's going great. You grow when things get bad. You grow when shit hits the fan. You grow when you're most afraid and when you don't know what the next step is. And so realizing that when you're in the fight, whenever you're in that dark cave, that coming on the other side is part of the journey. And once you realize you're in the fight, it gets a little lighter in that cave. You know your goal is to get out. Your goal is to slay that dragon, and you know that this is what you're built for. This is what you trained for. This is what you tried so hard when things were good, when you had time to train, when you had time to study, when you had time to learn, when you had time to talk to those people and love those people, whatever the situation may be. But understanding that once you know, okay, these are the hard times, then that's when you can make changes. The first step is knowing, because not knowing what you don't know is going to get you nowhere. But you got to know that. And I don't know how to verbalize it as well, because it is something that I am constantly figuring out. But like, just whenever you get dragged down, whenever something bad happens, you wreck your car, you fail a test, you fail a class, you screw up a relationship, all the really, really important stuff that can kind of just crash your world down. It's tough to realize that that's part of the journey, that it was meant to happen, even as shitty as it may seem, or as out of the blue it may seem. It was supposed to happen, and you got to keep telling yourself that and remind yourself that, and repetition. I even wrote it down on my notebook. It's all about repetition. It's about getting the reps. Just like whenever you're running miles and miles on a treadmill or on a track to get better cardio, or if you're doing bench press, whatever it is, it's repetition. You got to do it with your mind as well. And that's something that I have just been trying to push deep into my thought process, because as soon as I get those dark thoughts of like, oh man, like things are going real bad, I don't know if they're going to get better. You got to realize that they do get better. This is all happening for a reason. This is all for growth. And I saw this TikTok about the story of Maybe, and Gary Vaynerchuk, who some of you may know, some people love him, some people hate him, but I honestly, genuinely don't think he's a snake oil salesman. I think he knows what he's talking about, especially when it comes to happiness, not giving a fuck what other people think, going after what you really want, not going after money. But you never know what could have happened if that bad thing didn't happen. Let's say if you got fired from your job, okay, well, maybe you would have gone on a business trip and you could have gotten a car accident and died, or you never would have met your wife if you didn't go out to dinner that one night. But things like that, it's the story of maybe. And so how it goes is, one day this farmer's horse or this rancher's horse ran off, and they go, oh man, that's so sad, your horse ran away. And they go, maybe. The next day, the horse came back with 7 wild horses. And they go, oh, that's so great, your horses came back and brought 7 more horses. Maybe. And then farmer's son or rancher's son rides the wild horse, falls off, breaks his arm. They go, oh, that's so sad, the wild horse broke your son's arm. Farmer goes, maybe. The next day, the government comes around looking for able-bodied men to go to war. And because he broke his arm on the wild horse, his son doesn't have to go to war. And so knowing that and using that story, and it hit me so deep, it's not really, I don't think it's the lesson that makes a big impact on the way people think, or how it can change a life or your life or how you implement it. I think it's timing. Whenever you're in a bad spot and something just connects with you, something just hits exactly what you're going through, and it's the lesson you needed at that moment, and it hits you so deep. Maybe it's not the most profound thing you've ever heard. Maybe it's a story you've heard a million times. Maybe it's a quote on Instagram or whatever it is, and you've scrolled past it a million times. It's never really meant anything to you. But whenever you get to that point in struggle or in life, and then the quote just connects so deeply to what you're dealing with right now. And so that was kind of my situation with the maybe story. And I could have butchered it, but that's how I kind of took it. And it was, so something bad happened to you, maybe, but you don't know what positive things are going to come out of it. Times will get better. There's always a rise. There will be dips, but there's always a rise. And if you don't believe that, then you're going to be looking for those dips. You're going to be living in those dips. But if you genuinely believe that, if you know that that's going to happen, as I do, I know it will. I'm going through some tough times right now. I know a lot of people that are going through tough times. I am as well. It's realizing that they pass, and that this is what is going to build you up. This is what is going to make the good times so good, is knowing that you made it through the tough times. It's that constant yin yang discussion of, oh, would the good times really be good if there weren't bad times? And I've debated it, I've thought about it, I've tossed it around back and forth a million times. I honestly don't think you would enjoy things if you didn't have the struggle, if you didn't have the problems that came with it, if you didn't have those moments of whenever you're at your lowest point and you're looking to the sunrise ahead, and you know that's where you're going, you know that's where you're headed. I don't think once you got to the top of that mountain, it would be as sweet if you didn't have the trenches, if you didn't have the mud, the cuts and the bruises, and the tragedy and problems that come with, and those moments of, God, I can't wait to make it through this storm. I can't wait to see the sunlight. I think it honestly, the good times wouldn't have meaning. I think, to get super deep about it, it's just like these quotes from Marcus Aurelius and other Stoics. Death is the reason that life can be so sweet. It gives importance to things. It gives you a reason to do things. If you knew that this was forever, you wouldn't have any motivation to do anything. You wouldn't get up and go take that risk. You wouldn't go get that new job. You wouldn't talk to that girl at the bar. Without death, without a timer, you have no push. You have no reason to do things. Oh, you can get around to it later. So the bad times make the good times even better. And this is things that I'm telling myself constantly. This is what I am trying to enforce in my own brain. Repetition, 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 repetition. Even when I'm looking in the mirror and I'm upset and I don't believe a word I'm saying, it's This all means something. This is going to change you for the better. This was supposed to happen. This was supposed to happen. This was supposed to happen. You can't change it. This was supposed to happen. Even if you don't believe it, if you keep telling yourself that, it will change the way you think. Even when you don't want to. I understand. I get it. When something horrible happens to you, all you want to do is think about how shitty that situation was. All you want to do is think about how could I have changed it. You're not thinking about, oh, it's in the past. You're not thinking about, oh, well, shitty things happen to everybody, and I got it better than a lot of people do. Most of us aren't having to deal with terrorists coming in and killing all their family members. Most of us have to not deal with, their mom gets lost, bringing water back home for them for the day after walking 5 miles and passes out and dies from dehydration, or not knowing where your next meal is going to be, or having to pick up a gun at 8 and fight for your life until you inevitably get killed or go to jail in these neighborhoods that are just ravaged by crime. A lot of us don't have to deal with that. And if you're not in that position, you got to realize no matter what happened, you got to keep trudging forward. Just in your mind, just bring that repetition. I know it's tough. I know it is the worst thing in the world whenever you're in the shitty times, to be like, oh, this happens to everybody. This will get better. I get it. I hate doing it. I hate looking in the mirror and being like, oh, this is meant to happen. This is what made me a better person. This is what I'm going to build off of. This is going to be a chapter in my story. And people are going to be like, oh my God, that happened to you and you kept dealing with it. This is going to be that chapter. Think about it like that. Think about this is going to be that scene in the movie that they make about you, and say, damn, they really did fight through shit. They really did earn what they have now. And once you think about it like that, does it take the pain away? All of it? Hell no. Does it help lighten it just a fucking fraction of an ounce? Yeah, it does. Just a little by little, and that's all it takes. Humans are resilient. We don't want to go down. We get battered, we get bruised. We're endurance animals. We get battered, bruised. We're not the strongest animals in the jungle. We're one of the smartest, but we're not the strongest. But yet we build skyscrapers. We built computers that can almost think for themselves. It's because we're resilient. It's because people get knocked down every single day of the week. And like I said, our knockdowns now, if you're listening to this podcast on your iPhone, or if you're listening to this podcast while driving down the road in your BMW, you're doing better than 99.9999999 whatever percent than most people. And so realizing that, which it sucks to realize, hey man, these problems aren't as bad as I think they are. That almost pisses me off. That almost makes me even more mad, to be like, oh wow, I'm now an asshole for thinking that my problems are really that bad when there's people that are dealing with so much worse. But that's not the way you got to look at it. It is. I don't know if a lot of people think like this, but I'm always like my first gut instinct is like, just be pissed, attack it. Like I said, whenever you think about, oh well, you know what? Did something horrible happen to you? Are you fighting to get water? Do you not know where you're going to get your next meal? Are you starving to death slowly as an 8-year-old kid with a disease? No. But my gut reaction is to be like, wow, you know what? Not only do I have something shitty going on, but I'm also an asshole for thinking it's that shitty. And it's this cycle. And you gotta realize that you can break that. It's that thousands of year old brain that's like survival. And we jump so quickly to good, bad. When there's in between and we can control it. We're not having to worry about a leopard fucking run us down. We can go to the grocery store and get food and water. We can go to our sinks and get food and water. We have plumbing. We have electricity. We have heating. We don't have to worry about freezing to death. Some people still do. And so realizing that, but not coming at yourself, not attacking yourself. Your emotions are justified. Bad things happen and we move on. We move forward. But what I'm talking about is realizing in the bad times that this is happening for a reason. Whatever your situation may be, like I said, everyone's having their own. And you don't know other people's problems, so just be fucking nice. That's what I was taught. Just be nice. You don't know what the hell's going on. And you'd be surprised when you get people to finally open up. A random person, someone you barely know, and they tell you what's going on. You go, holy shit, I sat next to that person at work and that's been going on for so long. I wouldn't be that strong. I wouldn't show up to work. Probably sit in my fucking room all day. It's things like that that make you realize, okay, everybody's got something going on. And I'm saying all this to tell you that when you're in the fire, when you are in the fire, all you want to think about is the problem, is realizing that, oh my God, shit's going bad. This is a problem. When in reality, you can change those thoughts. You can prepare yourself for the good times ahead and enjoy the good times ahead while you're sitting in the fire. You can be like, man, I'm so thankful for making me stronger. I'm so thankful for what's going to happen after this, because this is the dip. This is that dip we talk about, and then there's going to be a rise. You know there is. You have to have something to look forward to, or else you're just going to do nothing and be motivated by nothing. You got to have something to look forward to, and just keep living. Just keep living. I heard that in the Matthew McConaughey book, Green Lights, that I finally finished yesterday. Just keep living. He dropped some great knowledge at the end. If you haven't listened to it already, or read it, I listened to it on Audible because I'm a very slow reader, but I am working on that. And that's another thing. I've also been trying to not say, oh, I suck at this. I say I'm working on it. But just keep living. I'm not Matthew McConaughey. I'm not his level of cool, but some things related to me. Some things, he went on like ayahuasca trips in Africa. Like that's cool. I don't know if that's my speed, but that's cool. But the thing about him that I respect is that he knows himself and he doesn't apologize for it. His weird quirks, his cool factor, he owns all of it. He owns both sides of it, and he knows who he is, and he doesn't get compromised. And I think that is something that I very much look up to him, and I think that's why a lot of people look up to him. Yeah, I'm sure because he's a famous movie star, a lot of people are always famous, always rich, or whatever. But I think a lot of people deep down, the real reason he gravitates towards people is he knows who he is. He doesn't get compromised. And when he said just keep living, it was kind of a moment of, you're going to get battered and bruised, you get your battle scars, and you're going to get tore up, and you're going to fucking lose sometimes. You're going to lose the battle. You're not going to lose the war. You're going to take some L's, and you just got to keep moving on and realize that this is what's going to build you. This is what is going to be the foundation for what moves you forward. Even if you have to lie to yourself and tell yourself that this is the best thing that's going to happen to you, even though it's the worst right now. Even if you have to lie to yourself, I promise you it'll build dividends. It's building that mental power. It's building that mental fortitude to go forward. But just keep living. And that one was another one that hit me deep. It's just like, you got to keep going forward, because back isn't never coming back. Past is never coming back. If you're not building towards the future, then you're dying. And another thing that he said was, how you think about your friend group right now. So I'll pause for a second. Just think about your friend group. Now think about everything you love about them, right? Oh, they're funny. Oh, they always get your back. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Now think about stuff you hate about them. If those are your real friends, that list is almost impossible to come up with. You're like, oh yeah, maybe they're a little too loud, but you know what? They're just having fun. Oh yeah, maybe they say some stuff that they shouldn't say, but they mean well. You see how you're justifying the people's flaws? You need to do that with yourself. You need to be a best friend to yourself and realize that you're going to make some fuck ups. We all do. That's part of growing. That's part of learning. It's part of change. And change through traumatic circumstances sucks. Change through big problems that happen in your life suck. That is what it is. It's a tale as old as time. Ever since humans could probably say the word, this blows, I'm sure the feeling hasn't changed in all of our guts. That, damn, this blows. But be a friend to yourself. Don't be the first one to attack yourself. Don't be the first one to be like, God, you fucking suck. This is terrible. Why'd you do that? Blah, blah, blah. You're not perfect. Your friends aren't perfect either. Your family isn't perfect either. People you look up to aren't perfect either. But you can't be the one to jump down your throat and tear yourself apart, because your friends that love you aren't going to do that. Friends that love you are going to be like, hey, man, you did this, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, we know who you are deep down. You know who yourself is. And I think we give ourselves a lot less leeway than we should a lot of the time. And just the phrase being friends with yourself, it struck a chord with me, because it is. It's like, I have friends that do shit, but it's like, you know what, at the end of the day, If I call them up at 4 a.m., say, hey, I totaled my car, something, I'm in jail, whatever it may be. Hey, I'm in Africa. I need help. Come get me. There's a handful of people that I could count on that would, if not be there, find a way to be there or find someone to help me out to be there. And just knowing that with their flaws, that I know who they are and I know what they're about, and they same for me. And so realizing that with yourself, be a friend to yourself. Realize that, hey, you have fuck ups, you have flaws. We all do. We have a ton of them. Everybody's got a million of them. But at the end of the day, you know what you're about. You know you're a good person. You know you're trying your best. And with that, it's going to come trips and falls, and then you get your ass beat and spit out. And you're going to feel worthless sometimes, and then you're going to feel like a king sometimes. But that's just the roller coaster of life. And understanding that when it boils down, that you are the person you're going to be with for the rest of your life. As literal or as conceptual as that sounds, that is in fact a fact. You are the only person you're always going to be with for the rest of your life. So why not be your best friend? Why not decide, hey, I know you fuck up. I know you do some stupid stuff all the time, but you know what you're about. You know you want people to do well. You know you cheer people on. You know you're loyal. You know you're kind. You know you have a big heart. Whatever it may be, whatever you do know about yourself that you really like, find more things. Find more things that you know that maybe you're afraid to admit to yourself. Maybe you're like, I am a super nice person. I am very thoughtful. But you think if I say that to myself, then I'm being pompous. I'm being arrogant. No, love yourself, and realize that there are great qualities about you. And it's easier said than done. I get it. My gut reaction is to beat myself up. Oh, you're an idiot. Oh, people think this, people think that. Oh, why do you do that? Why can't you just be consistent? Whatever. I get it. You gotta put in the repetition. You gotta spend some time with yourself and realize going forward that you always have to have your back and build a team that has your back, like you would them. And that's how you're going to be successful and have a life that you can look back on and smile. Because, the problems you had, and remember back in, let's say, elementary school, whenever you had like just a problem that felt catastrophic, you're like, this is life ending. I will never financially recover from this, if you know where that reference is from. But you have that problem that's life ending. Did you make it through? Yeah, you did. Does it seem like a big deal now? No. Even think back 4, 3, 2 years ago, whenever you're like, oh, I failed that class, like I'm never going to graduate college. You probably did. Or you dropped out and you did something else, and you're still here. You're still fighting. And so the problem right now, no matter how big and how daunting it is, whether it happened to you, whether you did it to yourself, whatever it may be, it's life and it was meant to happen. And you're going to grow from it. And it damn well could have saved your life. You don't know. And so those are my thoughts. It's been an interesting, I'd say 2 months now, an interesting 2 months. Talked to a lot of people, met a lot of people, talked to the same people, moved to a different place. And with it, there'll always be another dragon to slay. But just don't beat yourself up about things that are happening. Be a friend to yourself, because you are all you've got. At the end of the day, you're the only one that you'll have all times. So be a friend to yourself, and just keep telling yourself that. Because even if you don't believe it now, if you carve it into the back of your skull, you'll believe it eventually. And then it'll make the good times even sweeter. It'll make the bad times just a little bit brighter, just feather by feather as it gets lifted. And we'll all get through this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. We won't have an after hours part on YouTube, which is normally when I go a little bit longer on YouTube on the live stream. But yeah, I don't even think I said what my name is at the beginning. But I've been your host, Jack, at Jack Hummell, 2 M's, 2 L's, Instagram, YouTube. Those are the big two. I'd really appreciate a follow, a subscribe. We're on our way to 100 subscribers. I'm super excited about it. And I just appreciate everybody listening, whether you're on Spotify, Apple Music. If you could give it a share, That's the big thing. If you could share, tell your friends, tell them to listen to it. I'd really appreciate it. If everybody did that a couple times, this would blow up. But reach out to me on Instagram, reach out to me on Facebook, reach out to me on YouTube, whatever it may be. And let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought about the podcast. Let me know how I can improve it, and give you some topics for the next episode. But I appreciate you guys for listening. I hope you have a great week. And we're moving forward. Even if it feels like you got your knees chopped out from under you, we're moving forward, and we're going to get better from whatever tough time you're in. It's going to get better. You're going to be stronger, and you'll be like, damn, thank God I had that crumbling. Thank God it crumbled underneath me because I stepped on that carnage and jumped up to a whole nother level. But have a great week, guys. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace and love. Thank you guys for watching on the YouTube video. Like I said, this is a little bit of a rinky-dink setup here, just sitting in my bed holding a microphone in my hand. But I appreciate you guys. Hopefully you can hear the audio this time. Last time it didn't go. But it happens. We're learning. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one, and get after it.